Hello everyone, I'm Monica Lynn James, and I want to share a video update with all of you and help to prepare you for our group project and our final project. And also just to help to put a human face to the class and to connect with all of you. I'm very sorry for some of my Running Start students. I have just discovered that the Google Meet is not working with the Chromebooks that you may have, and that if you're having technology problems or timing and could not attend the virtual office hours. It's very hard. We're all around the world at different time periods. So I'm hoping that sharing some videos with all of you will really help to overcome some of those hurdles and help us to connect in a more human way in the class and engage together. So I wanted to help prepare you for the final group project. And I have run group projects in my class for many years, and I have actually done this online before. And please don't be scared. I even get scared sometimes myself because I have been in some difficult group projects, but I handle it very differently, and I like to give individual grades. And I love group projects because it helps to prepare you for the workplace. Even if you work very individually, you work with other people, and those people skills are important in any field that you go into. And using technology is a part of every field, even art. I'm a fine artist and I paint, but I have to know how to email and make portfolios of my work. So technology is an aspect of our lives, and this is actually a really, really great way to work together digitally. And if you've never collaborated using Google Slides or Google Docs, it's amazing. You can all work on the same document, you can make notes. We use this as teachers in the visual arts department. I've put together like procedures for the pottery studio, and I've shared it with multiple people on campus, even my dean and other art teachers and other pottery teachers, and we've all been able to type and share our input. And very easily I was able to, put that in there and then create some rules and procedures that we all had a say in. So the tools are really amazing. And there's so many ways to do this. You can set up meetings and meet, or you can share notes in a document. I really want you to explore what's going to work best for you. And that's also the fun part about technology, is that if you're working and you may only have weekends or evenings, you can fit it into your schedule. So I'm also really excited to see that I have 100% participation from all of you. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to see everybody has said hello and has started the first group discussions. That's really great, and I wanted to give you that chance to get to know each other before you kind of dive into the project. So the main goal of the project is to create a presentation that explains and answers this question. And the question is, how do the institutions of art reflect bias and cultural imperialism? And there's a whole video just on that I'm sharing in some of the reading and viewing materials, where I just dive into that. And some of your reading and viewing materials help you to understand and explain what is cultural imperialism. Depending on your background knowledge and how much history you have taken, you may not have background in this. But there is enough content in those reading and viewing materials to help you understand. What does that mean? What is that? And where do we see that in history? And then where do we see that in the institutions of art? So it could be art history books, it could be galleries, it could be museums. And it may not be overt. It may not be racism that we see overtly. It may be people that are left out or marginalized. We also may see some instances of what I call like cultural heroes, of people who are restoring lost culture or fighting to keep their languages alive. I just watched a recent presentation of a woman from Peru who wrote her PhD dissertation in her native language, and that's her goal, is to help restore her native tongue. So there's many different options. As a group, you can choose to work on one kind of thesis, one answer, or you might choose to answer the topic a little differently, but you tie it together in some kind of way. So that the first, challenge is, of course, your thesis, your main idea. So how will you answer that question? And the first discussion on this topic is to help you get to use our library online. And there's a great video from Meryl the librarian, and she's walking through some of that. And then you just kind of post some of the tools that you plan to use and start thinking about, okay, what am I interested in? What's my thesis going to be? And that will help you come to the group with some ideas. Okay, so you want to walk through that background content first, and then come to the group, and bring your questions, take notes on your questions and your ideas. So as we move forward, you'll see that in week 8 and week 9, we'll really start to work on the group presentation. But I always like to look ahead and to help you prepare. And you'll see a lot of materials there. And there are several kind of steps to the process. And this is how I grade the project differently. So kind of in a nutshell, in a big overall description, you'll kind of do that background information and come up with your own idea. And then you go into your group and you start to discuss, and just use those discussions. They're just groups, just you and your group. And or use text or email, whatever works for you, and start to talk with your group about how you want to do the presentation. Okay? You can use PowerPoint. Google Slides are very easy to share. You can use a Word document. It can be a website. You can use a Google site. Whatever works best for you. And you'll talk about that with your group too. What technology you want to use to create your presentation. And then individually, you'll each be doing research. You might divide it up and say, okay, you take the first 5 slides, and I'll take, the middle, and somebody take the end. Okay, and however you decide to divide up the work. Okay, and everybody does their individual part. Keep notes. Maybe keep a Word doc, because after your group has completed that presentation, you'll have one person that posts that into the discussion. And then each one of you will post your notes, like as a response, and say, here's my notes. That's where I get your individual grade. And the notes, it doesn't have to be this perfect essay, okay? It can be bulleted notes, okay? It can be a rough draft, okay? But you just want to show your contribution in the reply. The final presentation we want to be, presentation ready, okay? You'll also have, there is a group project work skill rubric. And a rubric is kind of like something you use to grade, or even at work. We'll use these sometimes on the job. So think about this almost like on the job. And I want you to walk through that rubric, and you can jot it down on a piece of paper. You can even print it out. It's a PDF. You can print it out, and fill it out and scan it back into me. You could take notes on it and type in your notes. Overall, this is the areas I was weak. Here's where I was strong. And you'll want to evaluate yourself. And I want you to pick one person from your group and evaluate that person from your group. I may assign people, and we'll see how things are going. Okay, and I may just email everybody and say, I want you to do this person, so I may assign that. And that just comes privately to me. So you're telling me how you did walking through that rubric, and you're also evaluating someone else. So very similar to the workplace, practicing those workplace skills. And lastly, there's a lot of little pieces, but lastly, the last piece is a journal. And the group project journal is private. That's your journal. And this is just to me and you. And this is where you can tell me what went great. I did this and that, and this was fabulous. I found this research. Or I was the group leader, and I helped bring everybody together. Or you can also tell me hurdles and struggles. My job was going nuts, and they were calling me in for all these extra hours. It was really hard, but I was able to get this in, and that. So the journal's private. You tell me what happened, and in a private way. Or if there were things that other people maybe in the group did fantastic, or challenges that you had. Okay, let me know in your private journal, and that's a very private space, and it can be very short. It's all up to you, and it's what you want to share. Okay, and I give just 40 points for that, for just entering your journal. It can be as detailed or as simple as you need. And it's just a private place where we can talk, where you can let me know how the project went. Okay. So imagine, I guess I'm the project manager. So these would be your notes, and that would let me know how to evaluate your grade. So when I sit down, I look at the group project. I see, how did the group project come together? And then I take notes on everybody individually. And I say, okay, so, all right, let's look at Alex. All right, so how did Alex do? And these are just names I'm making up. On their notes. Okay, so their reply. Okay, their response. And then I'll look at the collaboration skills rubric and see their kind of self-evaluation. And then I'll look at the journal and I'll see, okay, what happened with the journal? And so I'll have little notes on all of that, and I'll have little notes on everybody in the group. And that starts to tabulate the individual grade. So you may have one person that maybe forgot the journal, and they forgot their journal entries. That's 40 points. Or maybe they forgot the reflection or their notes. So all those pieces will tabulate to an individual grade. I have worked on this and had a group completely melt down, and they were not able to complete the final presentation, but they were able to submit a draft. And the students that kind of made it through that process and to the end actually got a very good grade, because they were communicating with me, and it was problem solving, and they did really learn some problem solving skills and some communication skills, and I gave them very good points for that. So communication's really important too. If something's happening, email me, communicate with me, and let me know. And also communicating with your group as well, practicing that, and letting people know so you can problem solve together. So these are all great skills, and I think it's going to be a great project, and it also gives us an opportunity to work together in a time that we're maybe more isolated. So I hope that you're all safe and well, and it's just a very difficult time, and I just want to acknowledge that. And I'm really thankful for the level of work and participation that I'm seeing in the class, especially at such a tough time. So take extra good care of yourselves, take extra good care of each other, and I look forward to seeing your discussions and seeing your thoughts and ideas and helping you create a fantastic project. So I look forward to seeing you in Canvas, and take care. Bye-bye.